There are a few times where I'm a little biased, okay? I know, it's a shocker. I get a little biased when people talk about Halo versus Call of Duty. One of them is not as good as the other, or when people try to say that One Piece is better than Naruto, it's just not a thing. Or a DDS versus a God Sword, in which case, DDS all the way. All those answers should be abundantly clear, all right? But something else that may be a little bit biased in the days of me and the small life that I've lived is my tender care, my tender love of Datsun 240Zs, 260Zs, 280Zs, and I'll even give a little bit of love to the 300Z, all right? They were iconic. They were lovely. They had big circle eyeballs before Miata ever did, all right? And they properly put Porsche in their place back in the 70s and showed them what it was like to create a JDM sports car without the price point that made you need to sell a house, okay? The car is single-handedly one of the reasons why the slant nose design stayed in the industry for so long and why you now see it coming back, because everybody wants the cars from the 90s but can only afford the cars from the 80s, but really should be looking at the 70s, all right? I'm Alex at FI on Instagram, and today's episode of Who? Why? We're gonna be talking about why the new Proto Z, the new 400Z, whatever they decide to call it, the new Z, is probably one of the best example tuner cars that will be coming to the market today. You like our new lights? We got some new lights. Pink, blue, a little bit of purple in there, you know? It's a little Easter egg to Artists of Wheels. Just letting you know. Low-key plug. And if you're just jumping into this video, hello. Don't forget to subscribe so we keep making banging videos like this. And if you're looking for aftermarket wheels, tires, or suspension, be sure to hit us up over at fitmentindustries.com, where we have it all for your Nissan friends or otherwise. And we have deals going on all month long for November, so you don't have to wait until Cyber Monday or Black Friday, so you can check that out below fitmentindustries.com/Black Friday. It's gonna be super awesome. Anyway, the 400Z was released and a lot of people were pretty skeptical. When that came out and the whole debut happened, it was a little bit odd, all right? I mean, look at it. It was highlighter yellow. People didn't really understand why. It had a big old empty spot for a grille, and people didn't know why. And people were concerned that the rear end looked a little bit too much like Tylenol pills stacked on top of each other. The fact that it wasn't insanely aggressive, especially because it was a prototype. And most prototype cars, when they come off the factory line for their initial when they go out for their initial look at us, they're usually the most aggressive. They're usually the most awkward. They're usually the most out of its normal place, all right? It's true. Look at the initial super prototype. It's pretty much like the profile picture, and then the production type is what the tagged picture is actually going to be. It's just how it goes. And even though Nissan had dried the pool that is the 370Z, Nissan's gotta just and even though they're starting to run out of money after the whole Carlos G situation and that scandal, they still know how to make a car that makes you happy. The 400Z, or what we think will be called the 400Z, features a lot of bits and pieces that will make it the natural adversary to the Supra. Something we haven't actually seen since the 90s, because between the brands, it never really happened. The thing the 400Z is gonna have on it is the fact that it's got a stick in the middle, baby. It's back, all right? It ain't going nowhere. BMW said nah, and Nissan said, oh yeah, bud, okay? That's the biggest thing to start it off. The manual transmission is going to likely force the Toyota Supra to offer a manual transmission, or it's what will cause people to pick up this car versus the BMW in Toyota's clothing. It's just a thing that people want to have, especially if they're keeping the car forever. That manual transmission also opens up the doors to a whole new plethora of enthusiasts, those that want to use it in a little bit more of a competitive space, such as drifting overseas or here in the States. Not only that, but the 400Z will also likely come with a twin turbocharged V6, borrowed from the Infiniti Q60 Coupe, which is shown to be buildable up to 800 to about 1,000 horsepower. Now, even though they're saying it'll only come with 300 horsepower, and a 300 horsepower is lame these days in the base form, and likely there'll be a 400 horsepower Nismo version, that does not mean that the 400Z will actually feel slow or boring when compared to the Supra counterpart, mostly because all of the rest of the goodies that the car will come with. It's the focus on the experience rather than just the power, because honestly, and I hate to break it to you, you can make pretty much anything fast these days. You pretty much just throw a tune on a turbocharged car, open up the exhaust, open up the intake, you got an extra 120 horsepower, and you're pretty much good to go. All right, but the 400Z is gonna have two turbos, all right? It's gonna have one stick in the middle, all right? It's gonna have two things in the back doing the power. It's gonna be rear-wheel drive. You're likely gonna have a limited slip differential and a wheelbase that's reminiscent of what made the Datsun feel so alive. The people and the reason people love the Datsuns and the way that they drove initially was because of how the wheels were all the way to the fronty front of the car, and the wheels were all the way to the backy back of the rear. And it's what's awesome about driving this car. It gave you the feeling of that elongated nose with extreme precision, driving feedback from the fronts, because as you turn, the nose turned with it because it was perfectly aligned with the front wheels. And you had more control on the location of the rear with them being all the way in the back, but because of the snubbed rear end, you actually felt right in front of those rear wheels. So the experience and the visceral driving was almost perfect, literally almost perfect. And the 400Z is gonna follow that. It's also a fantastic looking car as well. Sure, people may not be used to the front end a bit with every other car manufacturer adding as many shapes and scooped vents and fake grills and kidney beans everywhere, all right? But the Proto Z looks like a proper following for the Z name, a proper homage to the classic. It's got the center crease that goes down the grille and into the lower lip. It's got the raked roofline. It's got the double top taillights. Even the location of the Z badge is in the same spot as the older Zs. The triple center console gauges are staying, albeit they are kind of useless and nobody really needs them anymore, but it's still there because it's just a classic. And the flare-up style rear bumper, which you just can never get enough of. If that's not enough, you get similar rear windows, you get the minimalistic interior, and you get so much more. They focus on trying to do less, and that's what's so neat about this car, is that it's less, it's controlled, it's not trying to break all the molds. The Nissan Z is also targeting a pretty specific market. It's targeting the audience of people that want a fun tuner car that can drive well, feel proper, go decently quick, look nice, but not break the bank like the now GTR does to you. The first year GTR was a great pickup for the price, and then as it got older, it turned into a six-figure car. It just, I don't know, R8s do the same thing. A lot of these cars do the same thing. Think about what people like you and people like me want right now. Anyways, you're looking at cars and it's impossible finding a newer car that behaves like a classic, that has the same intuitions of what made those classics great. And the Z has a lot of that without necessarily jumping into super high price points. It's like the Tesla Roadster, except I'm pretty sure Nissan is actually going to make this car. If you're on Instagram and you're talking about how fast the Roadster is, you gotta hold up until they actually make the car. It doesn't count until it's made. All right? Sure, the pricing will likely sit in the mid-40s, and that is a little bit higher than probably the $30K Subaru market that you're sure used to. And it probably won't have the same amount of starter horsepower as a Toyota Supra, but that's not what the car is trying to capitalize on. It's going to feel like its own car, a proper Nissan with a properly fun power plant that will likely easily jump into the mid-400s once people like you and people like me modify them to the point of unreliability, because that's what we do. We make cars unreliable, we slam them on the ground, we just drive them around until something breaks, all right? That's exactly where Datsuns and Nissans belong. Jack stands, cracked oil pans, and check engine lights, baby. And that's what this car is gonna bring back to us. But what do you think about the new Proto Z? Let me know if you think I'm a little bit biased, or if you're as excited as me on the new tuner car, because we finally need some more fun sports cars. And if you're looking for aftermarket wheels, tires, or suspension, be sure to hit us up over at fitmentindustries.com. And if you have a Z of any kind, add it over to our gallery so we can rate you in the new series, Battle of the Gallery. I'm Alex from Fitment Industries, and we will see you later. Peace.